right. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Caitlin?
As ready as it can be.
All right. Lower your mic just a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I have my good friend with me today on the Tapioca Talk podcast episode. Well, I switch it around, so it will be episode whatever. We'll place it in there. This might be like 13 or 14. Damn, we're 14 episodes in.
I know. I was supposed to be here like January.
Yeah, I know, right? You were one of the first people I thought of.
I know. I'm sorry. I
It's
kept
okay.
pushing it.
You're busy, and that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I was going to be really salty if you didn't have me. I seen him create it, and I was like, RJ, don't disappoint me. I'm just kidding.
Nah, dude, you're one of the first people I thought about. Because it just makes sense to have you on. So for those of you that don't know, Caitlin used to work for Peace, Love, and Boba, and she turned from this little seed into this big old plant, this beautiful fern. We know now as Caakelin Bakery.
Which wasn't my plan at all until you helped me decide to make my Instagram. Do you remember that day?
I do.
I was like, people keep asking me, like, whenever they come in the store, like, if I have an Instagram or if I do, like, parties and stuff. And I was like, I don't do that, but let me ask my boss if that's a good idea. And they're like, just do it. You never know. And I was like, I don't think people are going to buy from me. And here we are.
I know, right?
Fully booked.
Do you
next
know?
2 months.
Fully booked? 2 months? Hell yeah, dude.
I booked, I opened my April availability today and booked within like 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Instagram has really changed the game for
Yeah.
like home-based businesses.
It really has. Ever since like the pandemic too, like I've never known this many small businesses until last year.
You know what? Let's dive into it. That was like the main thing I wanted to talk to you about, but fuck it, let's do it. Let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
Isn't it crazy? And I get it too, because look, I have a podcast now because of the
Right.
pandemic. It changed everybody. But isn't it crazy how all of a sudden there's like all of these home-based businesses because people were forced to
Literally.
like, what am I going to do to make money?
Right. People are losing their jobs or like home. Like you might as well figure out something to do from home. And people
Yeah.
prefer to buy from local businesses anyways nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they can create things that are better than like store-bought items anyways.
Yeah.
You can get all
Exactly.
custom things, whatever you want. Like there's a bunch of people like parties, like cups, shirts, just about anything, food,
Yeah.
anything.
And it's 2021, and I mean, let's face it, Instagram has really changed compared to like what it was in 2015. You know, like Instagram is really a tool now just to sell.
It really is.
And I love that. You know what I mean? If you're not an influencer, what are you really doing? You better be selling something,
Right.
right?
Right.
So,
And it's an easy way to like communicate with your customers too.
Yep.
And
Hey,
like
just
try
like-
to like sell your products or like try to get other people to share your page and stuff like that. But
yeah.
it's gone bigger now.
Yep.
It's crazy.
This is surreal. I want to share something with you that's going through my head right now. It's like really weird. Like I can't believe like we're sitting here talking about business. Like,
I know.
I'm flashing back to like when you first came up to me at Sassoon Seafood Center.
Oh,
And I remember, I think you asked me like, oh, I heard you guys are hired. And I don't know if I approached you or you approached me, but I remember you were wearing like a green jacket, you were wearing sweats. And then I remembered you. And I was like, I think I want her to work for me. I remember that for some reason. Was that what it was? I approached you?
I'm pretty sure because like I lived near the area in Malaya. She was the one that told me about Peace, Love, and Boba and told me to apply. And I was just like, let me do it. And then ever since I applied, I like try to go into the store like more often to try to like, you know,
I see.
like meet my face and like all that. But
You were like what, a junior in college?
no, in high school.
Excuse me, junior in high
Yeah.
school, yeah. And wow, man, you're like 21 now?
I'm 22.
22, dude.
I
known
turned
each other
23
for
at the
so
end of this
long.
year.
Speaking of, we are signing our new lease for Peace, Love, and Boba this week for another 5 years. Can you
Oh my
believe that? So most people when they sign a lease for a business in 5 years, we're at the end of our lease. It's been 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
No, it is really crazy. Are you guys doing anything big this year?
Well, I'm gonna say it. I don't care. We're depending on what happens.
Right.
We're gonna give the store a complete facelift. Like ideally, when a customer walks in when we're done, they're not going to recognize Peace, Love, and Boba anymore. It's like a new. We're gonna like just run it back. Oh, okay, yeah. So we're just gonna. It's gonna be, we're not gonna just get stuck in 2016
Right.
like how we open. You know what I mean? Like you see it like McDonald's, Burger King. They're brave enough to do it too. So.
Right.
And
everyone's like upgrading, changing like different themes and all that. That's what I do too.
Yeah,
I change
you gotta
my
pivot.
logo like almost every year because
Exactly.
I'm like, I think I want a different idea. I don't really like this anymore. Like I'm kind of over it, but until I find the one that I really, really like, then I'll stick to that.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Like I think we're gonna leave the classic three, the Peace, Love, and the Boba. We're gonna leave that, but we're definitely gonna come up with a new logo, probably a new color scheme, and just we got some big things coming.
Are you guys still making shirts and stuff?
I don't know if you heard, but my fucking t-shirt printer's broken right now.
Oh my!
It's a long story. I've talked about it too much on this podcast, but we went to get it shipped. We shipped it to get fixed in LA for some minor repairs, and on the way back, the fucking delivery company that shipped it, they dropped it.
Oh my god!
My $20,000 printer destroyed. Oh my god, it was heart-wrenching. So right now we are not.
I just thought I was like, wait, no, they were doing t-shirts too, and then I forgot.
Yeah, but Carl and I are resourceful. We'll make something happen with that. We're going through that right now. So
things happen.
Yeah, I'm
sure you guys will figure it out.
I still remember printing your shirt, your Caakelin bakery shirt.
Yeah, and you created my
Yeah.
It was so dope. You were like the best thing ever when you created like the whisk on the cake. I was like, I'm never getting rid of that ever again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, no.
Thank you, dude.
I make sure that people like keep it that way because that's how I like it.
Yeah.
They just change everything around it, like flowers, butterflies, and stuff. But
if you ever want to change it, you could. Don't feel like you don't have to.
I like the font though. Yeah. You're super creative.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
That's where I get it from a little bit.
Hey, I like
my creativity. I'm like Peace, Love, and Boba. Like a lot of the stuff from Peace, Love, and Boba, I make into my desserts. Like taro and Oreo, I make that a lot into my desserts. Like or like the cupcakes or macarons.
Yeah. Every time I see that, I always smile. I'm like, yep.
Yeah. But I have to say I'm like taro and Oreo because I can't say purple Oreo because people are like, what is purple Oreo? I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm stealing from POB, so I'm gonna just say taro Oreo.
Nah, it's not like that. People know like you come from our tree. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like what I want one day.
I think one day I want to like take all the flavors from your menu and just like create it into desserts one day.
That'd be dope.
It would be dope, like a Thai tea one, and like a dirty Thai. That would be good too.
I was talking about that last week with another guest that I had about creativity and sharing ideas. Like some people, and you know what, even me, I used to be like that. People, I'd be like, oh, that's my fucking idea. Right. I created that. But then over time, I've realized, was it really my idea? Like someone across the world probably had the same idea as you know what I mean? And someone was just able to capitalize it. But with regards to food, ideas should be shared and borrowed. Like that's what the basis of food is, right? Look, you make these things to be shared with people, right?
And whenever people like message me too asking advice and what I use, I'm like, oh, this is the product that I use and this is where I got it. Like I'm not really stingy and like all that stuff because I'm here to help you out because I know that I've been there before where people haven't really wanted to help me. So I don't want people to feel that way.
I love
especially
that.
with my business. I'm like, I'm all for the help.
Yeah. And haven't you come to find also, because I used to be like that too. Well, excuse me. I used to be very like secretive and I used to be like, nah, we shouldn't like share these things. But I've come to realize, okay, let's say I told everybody everything about how to run a business, which is like actually what I want to do. That's why I started this podcast. What's really the difference? Is it the ingredients you use or is it like you? Right?
Right.
The reason why Caakelin Bakery is so successful is not because of, first of all, you're a really good baker, but really you're so successful because of how hard you work.
Right.
You know what I mean? The hours you put in. I know for a fact the reason why Peace, Love, and Boba is so successful, we do make some good food. You know what I mean? We have some pretty we have a cool store or whatever, but really it's Carlin and I. We're the secret sauce.
No, you guys are.
right?
You guys are always keeping up with everyone else, like changing it up, doing unique things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just crazy. Whenever I go in, I'm like, oh shit, it's a new theme, new spring menu or like summer menu, and it's always so crazy.
Yeah.
Like you guys are so creative, and you like the fact that you guys bring your employees into it now too is awesome.
Thanks, dude.
Like I started to realize I'm like, oh, how'd you come up with that? And you're like, oh, I had the team members help me pick out the menu, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
It's not just like you guys anymore. It's like you and the team members, so it's cool.
I wish we would have done that sooner, but
No, at first you gotta like
yeah, that's true.
until you're comfortable with sharing with your team member.
Yeah, that does take
but
time.
it
You
does
are
take time.
right. It would have been a mess if we were like, "Hey, year one, everybody, go ahead and make some
Yeah,
food."
yeah, especially
Yeah.
with like not knowing the menu that well either.
Yeah.
But as they like learn the menu, I feel like they can like damn near make those burritos with closing their eyes now.
No, fact, for real.
Maybe not Denzel, but I'm just kidding.
Nah, dude, you can't. Not him.
Just kidding.
Enough about me. Enough about peace, love, and boba. Let's get back to Caakelin Bakery. So when did you first start baking?
Well, I started like ever since I was younger. I've always had like a sweet tooth, and my mom was always the type to like, oh, I'm not buying you sweets. I'm not spending money on candy. I'm not buying you blah blah blah. So I would just like surf the internet and just try to make desserts. But it was terrible when I was younger because I would like take the recipe and like read the ingredients, but not read the instructions and just like throw everything together, and then like it come out like shit. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, you have to like baking is literally a process. Like you cannot mess up anything. You have to be precise. And I started doing it in high school too, because at first my mom was like, oh, I don't want you to get a job. I just want you to focus on school. That was before I started working at Peace, Love, and Bova. But I was making treats in high school, and I was just like, this is simple things that I like, but I didn't even know like back then that this was what my career was going to be. Like I thought I was just going to join business and be like business administration or be like a boss somewhere else. But then I don't know, I started like getting really into it, and then Carla gave me the opportunity. She realized that I started selling in high school, and she was like, oh, why don't you just sell at PLB? And I never thought to like ask you guys, because I was like, why would I ask them to sell in a store when I've never done anything like that but sell to high school students for like $1?
Yeah.
But when she started giving me the opportunity is when I started getting really, really into like baking and like experimenting more, like macarons. Like I didn't even make cakes and stuff. She was the one that made me make my first cake.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I actually remember
for
that.
her dad. It was like lopsided and like all messed up. But she's challenged me. You guys all have challenged me. So ever since then, I've just been experimenting with all desserts, and now it's like my passion.
So, was it a passion like for you off the bat, or it kind of like was something that developed? You're like, oh, like
It was
this is
something
really
that had
cool.
like developed, because at first it wasn't like off the bat, because I was like, I was baking, but I was still going to school and like thinking I was gonna do something else,
Yeah.
until I was like, okay, well, I don't think I really want to go to school anymore. Maybe I'll just focus on my business and see if this is really what I like to do. So like the past 2 years, I was just all my business and trying to figure out if this is really what I wanted to do. If not, then I would stop now and figure out something else. But then throughout these last couple of years, I'm like, okay, this is really what I want to do. Like this is the career path I want to take. Right now, it's just going to be a small business, home-based, until I can learn and experience and to get my own small business. But eventually, I want to open up my own shop.
Yeah.
That is my goal. That is what I want to do now. Like I don't want to do anything else but create my own shop.
We're definitely gonna get to that. For
Eventually,
sure.
no rush. I'm willing to wait as long as I need to be
Yeah.
home-based, because I'm building up the clientele right now, and I feel like once I get my shop, I'll be okay.
Yep. Before we get to talking about your goals and stuff, so when you started selling to customers, right? I remember we did your little pop up and stuff.
Oh my god.
What was like that? What was that like for you? Because that was kind of like your own mini little grand opening, right?
Yeah, I was super nervous because I was like, okay, let me try to make as many different types of desserts as I can so that I can like showcase like what I can really do. But then I was hella nervous at the same time too, because I was like, I've never sold to like just random like customers and whatnot. I've only just sold to like friends and stuff at school. So when you guys gave me that opportunity to have my pop-up, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And by the end of the day, when everything was mostly sold out, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is something I could actually do. Like maybe people will actually eventually keep buying my desserts and want to be a frequent customer, which it has been. And it's just so crazy to like see all these customers supporting you, especially when they don't know you.
Yeah.
And you don't know them, but then you start to build connections with them. Like a lot of my customers now are like family to me.
Yeah.
They're like my sisters, they're just super close to me now. Like I like to build relationships with my customers because I feel like I produce better work when I'm like just building connections with them.
Yeah. That's one thing I lack.
Yeah.
As you know, Carla's way better at the front of the house than I am.
She's super good at that. That's where I got it from. When I first started working at PLB, I could not communicate at all. Like, I was so shy. Like, I trained at the boba shop in Sassoon. And she was like, yeah,
I forgot about that.
She was like, go to the register and, like, take their order. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, say, how are you? How's your day? And I'm like, I don't know. I was so shy until, like, Carla was so outgoing and, like, super loud and stuff, and then I started being like that. I was like, I need to be like Carla. I need all that energy all the time. And she would be like that like 7 o'clock in the morning too.
Yeah. And
super
it's still
energized.
I guess till this day. This past year we opened up a restaurant, right? And during the pandemic, so it's only been me and her because we weren't able to hire.
Right.
And I don't know how she does it, dude. Like from like
She's
3 years ago
superwoman.
to 5 years ago, her customer service is just, dude, like she should write a book on it.
No, she
You know what I
should.
mean?
Honestly, I learned it all from her.
Yeah.
Like the customer service, she's amazing at it. Like I'll just be in the front, like Carla, you take the wheel. You know what to do.
Exactly,
like,
dude.
I'm like, I don't know what to say.
I think out of all the years, I think we've only had one customer like yell at Carla. And I think I don't even know. You probably still working there. John was already about to jump over the counter and beat that dude up because you know, like that never happens.
Right,
like,
right.
It was just, he was probably having a bad day, but he was yelling at Carla. I remember John's fist was going like this too. Because that's, yeah, because it's like unheard of that someone gets mad at Carla.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Carla's always the first one to like be able to calm the situation down. Like,
Yeah. I
she
think
knows
she's
how to
like,
handle it all.
she's an exception to, well, first of all, like your customer service has come a long way. I know we haven't worked together in a while, but we worked together for a good 3 years. Was it 3 years? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 3 years.
You were very shy.
I was.
You were super shy.
I could not speak to anyone at all. Like I couldn't even like go to places and order my food. I was that shy. Like I could, and in class too, I never raised my hand to speak. I was just so shy. But now that like when I got my first job at PLB, I got more outspoken and stuff. And then when I started my own business, I was super like outspoken now. Like I'm not really that shy to anyone anymore.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of shy towards me now, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh. But I know how that feels because I used to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. You can just learn.
You know, like, I really feel like you would have grown into the person you are today, regardless. I know you like to give respect and love to Carla and I, but I really feel like just knowing you and who you are, I think even if you didn't work for Carla and I think you still would have found a way to be who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're kind of on this path that's undeniable because, like, look, you would have stopped already if this wasn't for you.
Right.
Because you already know there's a fucking grind in being self-employed,
It's
being
hard.
creative. I mean, just making food for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either for you or it's not for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's a lot of like, I started when I was like 19, so I didn't really have any experience besides like asking you guys for help or anything like that. So a lot of the times I was like super confused, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't even want to do this anymore because I feel like I'm just stressing myself out, and I'm not going to get any better because I feel like I don't have the experience, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have anything. Like they dropped me from school because I couldn't afford it, and I was just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. And especially when this pandemic hit, I was like, okay, like before this pandemic hit, I was booked 6 months in advance. Everyone like had paid their deposits and stuff. And then I was just like, oh, well, I have to pay these people their deposits back because like this pandemic wasn't anyone's fault. Like, it's not their fault that they paid the deposit way ahead of time, and then this boom, this pandemic. So I had to deal with that, and I was just like, okay, like, maybe I should just close my business. Like, I really thought about it for a little bit last year until, like, I was just like, no, let me just try to do as many flash sales as I can. If I can't do, like, custom orders on the weekend for events, because people can't really have events. But then I started doing that, and I was just like, it just got all over the place, and then realized that you just have to push through sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. I always like to talk to other entrepreneurs about this, because it's something that's never going to go away. Trying to push through, finding just that extra, like, oomph, you know what I mean? Because there's gonna, no matter what happens, no matter like with your business, there's gonna be times where like you just like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. Like, I could be working for somebody else, having an easier like life. I get my weekends off.
I literally thought about that too. I was like looking into jobs. Then I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, none of these jobs seem like the thing I want to do. But is this really what I want to stick with? Like, do I want to stay doing my business? But then I was like, yeah, I don't want to try to like.
Yeah. What is it for you? What motivates you to keep on just doing you?
Honestly, a lot of my customers, they motivate me a lot. They're like, just keep doing what you're doing, because I'm going to support you no matter what you do. Like, even if you raise your prices, I'm going to support you. Even if you like take a break for like a couple months, I'm going to support you. So knowing that there's still people there that are going to support me no matter what has helped me. Like, okay, well, if this is truly what I want to do, I'm not going to keep like telling myself to give up, because that's not the person I am. I'm not the type to give up. If it's hard, it's going to be hard right now, but I'll figure it out. And then once I do, later on, I'll look back and I'll be like, oh, I can't believe I was really thinking about quitting. Like, this is really what I want to do. This is not, I don't want to quit this. Like, this is my passion. I have a goal. Like, it's just ready to like, for me to achieve it. Just no rush. It's just, I'm working on my own pace right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's
crazy.
I can't say it enough. Just like, it's almost like it's a cliche saying, but you spoke it into existence. You know what I mean? I remember just working like every day with you. Whenever you started, you were just picking my brain. You know what I mean? You're like, I think I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
and like, dude, I'm not going to lie. Most of the people, they're going to be like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And they don't fucking do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like why I have you here sitting in front of me, because it takes a special person to actually, and dude, I'm not, like, I say a lot of shit that I don't do, you know what I mean? But I have mad respect for people that do something and they or say they're going to do something and they fucking do it, especially hard things. You know what I mean?
And I felt like, I mean, if I said I was going to do it, I might as well just do it. I'm already like this deep into it, like a couple years deep into it. And I feel like kind of weird just like dropping it out of nowhere. And then like I have all this clientele, and then suddenly like everyone's wondering where I went without any sudden notice or anything. But I don't know. I don't think I ever really want to have those thoughts again, because this is really what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 22, about to turn 23 at the end of this year. I'm hoping to have my own shop within the next couple years, and then build up from there.
It's going to happen. Yeah. I know it's going to happen.
And after that, I want to be able to like travel the world and be able to experience other desserts like hand on and see. I kind of want to maybe eventually go back to school once things get better, but maybe just a school that like just does culinary stuff, because I don't really want to go to a school that's going to make me take history and all that stuff again, math and whatnot that I don't need.
I think you should do whatever you want. But I mean, Caitlin, you're already learning the stuff you can't learn in school, and also like the stuff you think you want to learn in culinary school is on YouTube already.
Yeah, no, it honestly is.
University of YouTube is like the best, and it's free.
Literally.
You know what I mean? I'll probably make my kids go to college if they want. I'll pay for them and all that shit. But if they tell me like, Dad, I don't want to go to college, this is my plan, I'm like, all right, that's cool.
No, it really
things have changed so much.
Yeah, YouTube has been my best friend ever since I started my business too. Like, if I don't know how to make anything, I'm like, oh, how do you make this fondant decoration? Watch a 2-minute video. I'm like, oh, it's easy. Like, what the heck? Let me try that out.
Exactly.
So, yeah, YouTube has been my best friend. Honestly, there's so many sources on the internet to like learn things. people too that have gone through experience. You can reach out to them too and learn from them. It's just crazy.
That's like the real secret. And like I mean, hopefully people know. It's maybe it's not a secret, but it is a secret. Everything is there for you to learn. But how bad do you want it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Am I just gonna take the day off today? You know, maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
I was gonna say maybe I'll just do it next time.
Yeah.
Or like,
it's okay. You can have those days, but most of the time you should be fucking grinding.
yeah.
It's really that simple.
Like if you think about it, just do it already.
Yep.
Because you're just gonna, if you set it aside, it's just gonna keep being set aside.
Yeah.
And that's not really what you want to do. If
Exactly.
you really keep thinking about it, then you obviously want to do it. So why not just get started?
Yeah, exactly. One thing I always like, well, me and J-Bo, we always talk about this because he asked me recently. He's like, hey, how do you stay motivated, or how do you constantly just do what you do? One thing I told him is, like, first of all, I go through those ups and downs just like you. But what I try to do is when I'm like at my most motivated point, I try to do as much as I can, because I realize that there's going to come a time where I'm tired or I just don't feel like doing this.
Right.
So when I'm like super motivated, man, I'm trying to do like 1,000 things and just get it done, because that's when I'm like just firing on all levels. You know what I mean?
That's how I am too. When I'm motivated, I have like so many thoughts and ideas going through my mind. I literally have to start writing it down on my phone, like in my notes. I'm like, oh, this is an idea I have. I have to write it down before I forget it, because I swear I have so many ideas sometimes, and it just floats in my brain. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this needs to be written down before I forget later. And then a lot of the times too, what helps is when I like just relax, have a day just for myself where I'm not actually like baking or actually like on the computer working. I'll just be sitting on the couch like watching TV, and sometimes I'll just space out and start thinking of like ideas in my head. It's crazy.
Dude, I don't even know who I'm fucking talking to right now. It's so crazy. You've morphed into this like little tiny entrepreneur, and I love it because those are the exact same thoughts I have in my head, Caitlin.
Really?
Yeah, you sound like me.
I go through the same exact thing. Like I space out all the time. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'll be making food, and I'm like, oh, I just have this idea. Just anytime.
Dude, my drives here from because you know I live in Rockland now, but from Rockland to Sassoon.
Oh my god.
Man, my drives are so like that's all I think about. It's
that's
just
how
like
I am too. Sometimes I'll be driving. I'm like, oh shit, I'm driving, because I'm over here thinking about ideas and stuff, and I'm like, oh god. But it'd be the best time too, driving. Yeah. Coming up with ideas.
Yeah. Especially like when me and Carla are driving together. Dude, that's all we talk about is just like our next move, or how we can do this better, how we can tweak this.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I wish everybody could be an entrepreneur. It's so fun.
It is. When it's
hard, but also it's worth it.
No, it really honestly is, because you learn a lot, you gain a lot from it, you experience a lot. I don't know, it's just a lot. Yeah.
Was PLB your only job? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then I started before the pandemic hit. I was doing a nanny job. And I currently started doing it again recently, but other than that, I don't.
But you've only had a boss once then, huh? Okay. Well, lucky for you, those bosses were amazing. So, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Small business owners too, so they're like the best to like get advice and like learn and grow from. And it's crazy too, because like I was there from the start, so like PLB, and then now you have this place, and you have Kotora, and then oh my god, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's why like it inspires me when I see you guys. I'm like, oh my god, like you went from one shop, and then I heard you guys all the time talking about opening another shop, and you did, and then it's just crazy to me. Yeah. Like you said, sometimes you just have to do it.
You're right. It's crazy to me too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like once again, Carla and I's life has shifted. Like there's just so many big shifts. Like we don't even live in the 707 no more, dude.
I know,
it's crazy.
It's just so weird. Sometimes I'm like texting her, she's like, "Oh, I'm not even out here." Oh yeah, you guys don't live out here anymore. Yeah. Be bummed out sometimes.
Right. You know what I'm scared of the most?
What?
Because I've heard that like, okay, you'll reach a level, right? And then you think you're gonna be satisfied. So you get to the top of the mountain, and like you're just thinking along the way, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be good once I get to that top, right? So here I am. I have multiple businesses, and that's what I've wanted from the moment I decided I want to open up Peace, Love, and Boba. And yet here I am still thinking of like what I want to do now. Like I'm thinking about how I want to grow this podcast, how I can like utilize YouTube in my advantage. And it's just like, okay, finally, let's say I get to my next goal. Like I want to be financially free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever that means. I get financially free. What if I then like it just turns into like, okay, I want to be a multimillionaire. And then what if it turns out like I want to be a billionaire? It's never going to happen. I should have been like a millionaire already, but it just seems like it's never going to end. When will I ever be content and happy? You know what I mean? You ever like, has that crossed your mind yet or no?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that this morning. I was just like, am I happy right now? And I was like, yeah, I actually am. Like, am I content? I'm content, but I could be like, I feel like I could be more content if I like didn't procrastinate as much as I did, like get as much work as I can get done, or like I don't know. It's crazy. Like I have thought about things like that too.
Yeah. And like, oh, this is what I wanted to ask you. Like, you're only 22 years old. When I was 22, good Lord, I was doing not good things. You know what I mean? And I always like this. So I asked J-Bo this, and I always like to ask young, motivated people, like, what or how are you able to figure it out so early?
Honestly,
what was it?
I would say like my mom was a big part of that, because like ever since I was growing up, she never really wanted me, not like she didn't want me to go out or anything like that, but she just didn't want me to like lose my focus on like myself and figure out what I wanted to do. So I've never been like the type to like, you know, want to go out or like party or like feel the need to hang out with people or like anything like that. So my mom was a big part of that, honestly, just helping me like, I don't know.
No, I feel you. Me too.
Yeah.
My mom has played a huge part in with regards to what I do and being creative, cooking, and all these things. It's shout out to our moms.
No, really, because like at first, like when I was younger, I'd be like super mad and stuff. Like, Mom, why won't you let me go out? Why don't you let me do all this stuff and blah 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 blah. But as I grew older, I was like, thank you for not really like letting me be all wild and like crazy and like making sure I was like on the right path. Like wasn't really controlling like what I should do with my life, but like helping me figure out like, oh, you need to figure out what you're gonna do with your life so that eventually you can do those things on your own time with no stress.
Yeah.
I feel like if you do all that partying stuff now, it's not going to be as fun when you get older.
Yeah, I like that.
So when I get older, I'm going to be like, oh, I haven't experienced all this stuff yet. So it's more fun because I have money and I have the time to travel the world and I have the opportunity to do things without having to stress like, oh, I have this job that won't let me have this much time off. So I feel like not doing all that stuff while I was younger is okay. And I'm chilling right now.
Well, first of all, you're only 22, so you got a long way to go.
I feel like I just want to do this business thing as long as I can, and then once I have it like settled down, then I want to be able to like live my life, travel the world, have kids, get married, all that. But I'm not really thinking about all that stuff right now. I'm just moving at my own pace. Not in a rush.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I was in when I was young. I was definitely always in a rush. And I don't know if that's the best thing.
I mean, it probably helped, too, that I had 2 older sisters. And my mom was just like, just don't be so crazy like your sisters. And I was just like, I mean, they're not that crazy. But, I mean, I won't be like that. It's okay.
Yeah. And I guess that's like the best thing that your sisters have given to you is that lesson of like, you know.
Well, like, you get in trouble first, so I don't.
Yeah, exactly. And you were smart enough to pay attention to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Instead of just keep on.
My sister's watching this and be like, seriously?
Well, we all have our own path, you know, man. We're all individuals, you know what I mean?
Right.
Your happiness is not my happiness, so.
Right. We all have our own happiness and stuff.
Yeah. Money's not important to everybody.
Right.
It's important to us, though. Well, being creative and then also making money while being creative, that's really what it is, you know what I mean?
It's so rewarding sometimes, and you feel like, I feel really good about myself sometimes when I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I created this, and like, on top of that, I get to make money off of things I love to do.
Exactly.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. You ever get nervous? Like, I mean, look, your product is already proven. And I guess it's safe to say, like, my product is proven already. We know that there are people in this world that like my food and they like your baked goods. But do you still get nervous, like, when you give it to people?
Yeah, I do, because I feel like every person is different. Like, Not everyone has the same taste buds, because like this person could really really like my cake, but then this person could probably have different taste buds in a certain like way they like cakes, and they probably wouldn't like my type. But it's been good so far. But I feel like a lot of people tend to not really say anything if it isn't really what they like, because they don't want to hurt their feelings. But honestly, I like when people are honest sometimes.
Yeah.
Just nicely about it. You don't have to be rude about it.
Yeah.
But if you like come like, oh, well, this could have been like a little less sweet, or like the cake was dry or something like that. Like, I'm always for improvement and hearing what people have to say. And I like asking them too. I'm like, how did you like your desserts? Reviews, except I don't want like a Yelp or anything, because I feel like that would like ruin me. Fuck Yelp.
Yeah, let's not get. I talk about Yelp way too much in this damn podcast, so I'm gonna just exclude that today.
They're excluded for life.
Yeah, last week I had a pro Yelper, and he made a good point. You know what I mean? He made some really good point. He's a barber, and he's like, Yelp has helped my business.
True, it can be very helpful.
And I was open to that.
Because a lot of people do go on Yelp to like look for places, and they don't really care about the reviews.
Yeah, but exactly. I'm waiting for someone to convince me that Yelp is good. You know, that's why I'm going to talk to as many people as I can. So, but you're on team fuck Yelp, right? I think that's me and Carla's fault.
Yeah, because when I was working at Pizza and Boba, whenever they would call, I'd be like, don't fucking answer that call. I'm like,
yeah, I know. I'm not fucking here, Caitlin.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, voicemail.
Yeah.
We're not open.
Right.
It's like in the middle of the day.
Yep. Dude, those guys are relentless. That's why, man.
No, I mean, it wasn't just you guys. Like, I'd be seeing like some comments. I'm just like, okay, well, that was like very menial and stuff. Doesn't really need to be all that. I feel like it can really ruin people's business sometimes.
Yeah. And it can, and it's unfair, but
yeah.
I guess Yelp has evolved a little bit, and people, the users of Yelp have evolved as well. They know that some people are just there to hate. Right. So, but whatever, still fuck Yelp, dude. I gotta wear my shirt. I have a shirt that says "fuck Yelp." I've been meaning to wear it on the podcast.
That would be so funny.
I need to get it on. So, Caitlin, not your end goal, but your next goal is to have your own brick and mortar, right? What makes you want to have a brick and mortar compared to just working out of your home?
Honestly, like, I feel like it's a different experience being able to like work in your own shop in your own environment, because working from home, I mean, it's fun, but then at the same time you have all these people in your house. You have people like stressing you out, like always in the kitchen or anything like that. But I don't know. I've had all these ideas about how I would want my shop, and I'm like, okay, if I'm having ideas and I just really want one, like I want to open my own shop if I have all these ideas and then make them come to life.
Yeah.
And then like working at Peace Love and Boba too, like I've seen like how small businesses can like blossom and stuff, and I'm like, I want to be able to just be able to have like a spot where people can, like, not a unique or not a your plain old usual bakery. Like I want to be unique. I want to be able to have like, I don't know. I don't want to really throw my ideas out there yet, because they're kind of like,
I'm getting goosebumps just talking to you about
I'm
this.
just like,
I love this
I'm like,
part.
I don't want people to like know yet, but I have some
you got plans
up my sleeve, and I definitely want to have like kind of like a cafe style kind of thing where people can chill with their family, come in, take pictures. And
can I ask you, like, okay, ideally, how big would your shop be? So just to give you an idea of scale, Peace, Love, and Boba is almost exactly 1,000 square feet. So how big would your shop be if all things were equal?
Right. If it's in like Fairfield, it'd probably be bigger than, because I'm either thinking Sassoon or Fairfield. So if it's in Sassoon, it's probably going to end up being smaller. But if it's in Fairfield, I would want a bigger space to where like people can have the opportunity to like sit and not be disturbed by like other people or like bumping into other people. So I don't know.
Maybe like 2 PLBs.
Yeah, probably like 2 PLBs put together, because I kind of want like a spot where it's like you can pick your own desserts and like, like displays and stuff. And then I want to have like an area where it's like consultations and like people want custom orders, and because I still want to do custom orders while I'm
Yeah.
I have my own bakery because.
Wow, you're gonna need a lot of space for your bakery. You would need at least 2 commercial mixers. How many ovens?
Yeah, refrigerators.
Oh, dude, I got goosebumps right now just
I
thinking
know.
about your shop, dude.
You and Carla are gonna be the first people I hit up to help me figure out everything because I don't even know yet, but I for sure want to be able to like have displayed desserts and then still be able to like take customers in the back and like have my own office to where they can still order custom orders or custom desserts. But at the same time too, I'm like, I have this shop, but like how is this like employee thing gonna work? Because I want to make sure if I'm hiring people, I want to make sure like they know how to bake. So like I have certain people who bake and help me make creations for like desserts and stuff. Certain people who can do like just front job and like don't necessarily need to know how to bake, but have the knowledge of my ingredients and like what's inside, what are the desserts, like, and all that stuff. Like it's just a lot. Like I don't know. That's all the things I think about all the time. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, If I ever hire my family though, they would for sure just work the front. I don't think I would want them in the back. It's like they stress me out sometimes. I'm like, they're like, do you need help? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You're not experienced. I don't want you to mess anything up. But honestly, I also thought about like maybe one day opening like not a school but like class, because like I know a lot of people don't really like to go into like school just to really do culinary. They just want to like have classes where they learn how to make cupcakes or macarons or stuff like that. So that might be one of my ideas too, like to have a room where people can
you could teach them
and stuff. So I don't know.
That would be inside Caakelin Bakery too though, so you could be like, it's bake night on Tuesday or something like that. That sounds dope. And you could charge them for classes, right? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, flat fee, $40, and you get some cupcakes or something. Oh, you get to eat the cupcakes that you made.
You can bring home whatever you make.
So. Yeah, you just show up and use my stuff. That's smart. Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a lot of ideas that I have. That's why I'm like, I'm okay with being home based right now until like I get all my ideas all together, and like once I have like my final idea and what I want to do, and when I'm ready, then I'll get to it. Yeah. Because I don't want to. I feel like if I get into it and then like not really know what exactly I'm doing, I'm going to just stress myself out. I'm going to have anxiety. I'm going to be all over the place. So that's what I learned. Like at first when I started my business, I was all over the place. I wasn't organized or anything like that. I wasn't like taking orders, like writing them down correctly or anything like that until I started getting more into it. I'm like, okay, I need to really be focused and like write down everything, make sure I know what I'm doing, my expenses, how much I make, like my profit, all this, like it's a lot.
Yeah, there's levels to that shit, right?
Like stuff for packaging, like stuff for your items, like your ingredients. You have to find places where it's like cheaper to get in bulks, or like it's just a lot.
See, Kay, like, okay, I'm gonna zoom out for you because I feel like I know you. You know what I mean? And like, look, Kaylin, ever since we've met, you've what's the word? So like, okay, when you went to school, I could tell right away Katlin doesn't like school. You know what I mean? I could tell. We would talk about it like a lot, like how school fucking sucks. And I know what you mean. School, I was like, fuck, yeah. And I was in the same boat. I didn't like school, but I didn't really have a choice. I had to finish. You know what I mean? And I found a way to make it fun. You know what I mean? By partying and not going to school. Somehow I graduated. But like, look, what you're doing now, Kaylin, I'm not even just saying, it's 10 times harder than school.
It is.
But what I want to highlight is you found your passion, and it's not like work to you, right? Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this, because from the past like 20 minutes, you've been talking about all these things that I'm listening to, and like, these are really hard things. With school, really, you just got to show up, listen, take some notes, half-ass it. You'll probably get a C and you'll pass. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you just sit your ass in a chair. You're fucking on your feet all day. You're getting burned. You know what I mean? You're just shuffling. Yeah. So, and like, that's why I like just sitting here with you today, and people I've sat with for the past couple weeks, past couple months, is just, you can't like say it enough. If you find what it is, you know, that you love, it really just doesn't feel like work. No. And yeah, and also what I want to say is though, like, if you are listening to this podcast, especially this episode, just because Caitlin's 22 and let's say you're older than her or younger than her, I don't think that there should be this rush to find it. Like, it's going to come to you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't feel like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm 35. It's too late for me.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
dude. You know what I mean? If you find your passion tomorrow, chase it. Right?
Exactly.
So I just wanted to point that out. And like, look, Caitlin, look, you've grown so much in a short amount of time. It's an amazing thing being able to witness that. It's been like, we're not even related, dude. But we always joke around like, like I treat you like you're my daughter and stuff. But I have a little taste of it. I'm not a dad yet, but I get it. Like I actually, because people always say like, I'm proud of you. Like, oh, I'm proud of you. But like so people throw that word around. Like, I'm proud of you. Like, I'm legit proud of you.
Aww,
you know what I mean?
you.
I feel so proud of you. You've come a long way because, if I have your permission to speak freely about your life, like you haven't had it easy growing up. You know what I mean? So you've had to really like muscle it out. We've had those personal talks. So I know where you've come from. So.
It's definitely been like there's been definitely times where I've like wasn't at my best. I haven't had like the right mindset. Like I'm not gonna lie, like the beginning of my business, my mindset was like all over the place. Like I was an angry person. Like I didn't know how to speak to people. I didn't know how to control my emotions. Like if I was stressed out because of how much work I was putting into my business, I would take it out on everyone because of how much I was stressed out because I didn't know how to control it. But as I got like older and more experience with my business, I'm like, okay, well, if this is really what I want to do, there's going to come stress with it. And I'm going to have to learn how to deal with that kind of stress. So throughout the years, I have learned how to deal with it. I'm like, okay, well, the reason I'm stressed like this is because I'm overworking myself. I'm overbooking myself. I'm not taking that time to sleep, eat, shower, anything. Like I will literally bake for like a whole day straight without eating. My mom's like, why don't you go eat? I'm like, I can't because that's just going to distract me and it's just going to throw me off. I can't stop. I have to finish this before I do anything. So I felt like I was super unhealthy for a while, and I realized I'm like, okay, well, if this is really what I want to do, if this is the business I want to run and eventually like have my own shop, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to like make sure my body is okay, like make self-care a priority, and people need to understand that like I'm a one-woman team. Like I can't keep doing everything for everyone else and not thinking about myself. So yeah, I've grown a lot and realized that I have to take the time off and like come back when I'm like well rested, and that way I'll be more creative. I'll produce better work once I'm well rested, because for like the first 2 years I was like, okay, yeah, I could have made this dessert way better if I like was able to sleep a little bit, or if I didn't have that many orders and was rushing through everyone's order just to get it done. And now that I like calmed it down, I'm like, okay, my work is improving. Everything looks better now that I can focus more on certain events and not have to focus on like 6 events in one day.
Amen to that.
It's crazy.
Are you sure your last name's not Canlis?
Man,
I'm
it's
just
just
playing.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Have to learn to manage it all.
Look at you with that perspective. I like that.
Especially this year, I'm like, okay, I calmed it down a little bit. Like, I don't take orders throughout the week because the week is, like, the first 3 days of the week is literally, like, for me until I have to start prepping for my weekend orders, which is, like, Thursday, Friday is when I start prepping for weekend orders. But I want to make sure I'm, like, able to, like, this year I've never slept so much for, like, the past 3 years. And I'm like, okay, like, I enjoy this. Like, I actually get to sleep in my bed. I don't have to sleep downstairs next to the kitchen, take a 30-minute nap, and then go bake. Now I can, like, sleep throughout the night, wake up, and, like, shower, like, all this self-care, and then work on my business when I'm, like, okay.
I want to, like, kind of hammer that point in because, okay, I'm an experienced small business owner. And if you are listening, like, I second that 100%. Self-care, your well-being, it's so important. And especially, okay, you're going to find this out real quick, Caitlin. Once you open that brick and mortar, that's it. You know what I mean? Your life, it revolves around this business. So if you can find the time, even if it's just like 30 minutes a day to meditate, to work out, to just be with your own thoughts, dude, that stuff counts after like a 12-hour shift. You know what I mean?
It really
or
does.
just baking or cooking, like those little moments in your day are so important. And if you are a small business owner out there, or just a home-based business right now, and you find yourself just running thin and you think, I can't make time for myself, I would highly suggest, you can.
You can.
And you should make time for yourself.
You definitely can.
Even if it means turning down a customer, because turning down one customer might actually be like growth into like 5 more customers because of exactly what you just said, right?
Right. Because if you're well rested, you're able to produce better work and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people feel like it's kind of silly to like make time for yourself or like do things like meditate or like read a book or like go out and get your nails done or do whatever you feel like, go shopping, whatever you feel like you need to just have that day for yourself. But it's honestly not. It's like one of the best things you could do. Even as like a entrepreneur, it's like you shouldn't, I don't know, like with me, I'm like, I don't have like a 9-to-5 job. I'm not saying like it's bad for anyone that does, but like whenever I'm working anywhere I go. Like if I go to my boyfriend's house or if I go to my sister's house, I'll bring my bag and I'm like working all the time. So that you really have to find those times where you can just chillax. Because like if you own a small business, especially from home, you're going to constantly be working. You're going to feel the need to constantly be working. So you still need to find the need to like rest and all that stuff. Yeah.
And there's definitely like multiple schools of thought on how to treat that. Like I'm thinking about my wife right now. She probably won't agree with us. You know what I mean? And Carla, like
she's super hardworking, always wants to.
And especially this past year, man, she hasn't turned it off yet.
Yeah.
Like there's been no time for anything else except for the business. And I mean, I get slack. I get slack for this sometimes, and I understand. Like my hard work is never in the question. They don't question me about my hard work. You know what I mean? Because I work hard, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I always make time for myself because I know me personally, I need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I know I'm fucking fat and stuff, but I do work out. And if I don't get my workout, because I work out a lot, surprisingly, I also eat a lot. That's the problem. But if I don't hop on the cycle, if I don't do my fucking kettlebell workouts, whatever, like I'm not right throughout the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to make time for yourself if you feel like you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I need it.
I really like felt like I did need it because like there's been times where my body, like I can just tell my body was just so tired, like I could barely move, like I'm moving so slow, or like I'm so hungry but I won't, like I feel like I don't want to eat because like I'm not in the mood to eat. Not that I'm like trying to keep myself from eating, but it's like, oh, I'm so tired from all this work, I don't even have the energy to just sit down and eat or anything like that. But honestly, it's been super helpful for me to have all that rest and not taking as many orders as I used to.
Yeah.
And like be able to like sit back after I finish all my weekend orders and I'm like, oh, snap, like I really did that. Like I'm getting better and better. And like at first, like when I first started, I was like, I don't like talking about myself like that. I feel like, you're hyping yourself up or you're like sounding like you're cocky or anything like that. But I come to realize I'm like, well, I got to give myself credit for like improving and like my work is good. Like I can say that without seeming like I'm cocky or anything like that. But
no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like well, maybe it sounds like bullshit, but like, but I have the same reservations. Like, having this podcast, like you have to talk about yourself. You know what I mean? But I'm coming to learn that in 2021, not only are you just Caakelin Bakery, you're Katlin Fajardo, and self-branding is almost as important as like advertising for your restaurant. Right. You know what I mean? So being cocky, who cares if people think that about you? There's like a million more people who won't think that, and they're going to support your business. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really just the haters. Like, oh, this motherfucker.
And I feel like if you truly know me, like you would know that like for the longest time I was like the most insecure person ever. Like I never talked good about myself or anything like that. And I never did anything for myself. And that's why like I feel like I'm okay with saying things like that now, like about myself, because I'm like, okay, well, I've improved now. I've gained the confidence. I'm finally happy with myself where I am. I should be able to like speak about myself like this, especially when I haven't spoken about myself for like half my life. I always talked bad about myself, like how I looked or like how I went about things or what I wanted to do. So now that I'm happy, I don't want anyone else to like tell me what I should like, how I should feel and when I should feel it or what I should feel. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm finally happy, I don't want you to ruin it. So
exactly.
If you don't get it, then you don't get it. Like if you truly know me, then you'll understand. You'll truly be happy that I'm finally where I am today. So.
Yeah, I'm sure AJ would agree with me. If we had this conversation, let's say we sat down and did this exact same thing 3 years ago, this conversation would be going so differently. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like the growth that you've had, I can't say it enough.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Like, I talk about it to my boyfriend a lot too. Like, which he's been such a huge help with me. Like,
yeah,
growing,
shout out to
like,
fucking your boyfriend.
no,
dude.
really.
I
Like,
love
he was
that guy,
the one
man.
that showed me this mindset book. Like, he was the one that helped me change my mindset. Like, he was the one that, like, if you think like that, obviously it's not like you're not gonna get anything done. You're not gonna improve. You're not gonna like want to do anything. Start thinking with like a growth mindset, and then you'll be able to like achieve things you want to achieve, have a better life, live better, be happy, and all that stuff. Like, ever since then, I was just like, okay.
Isn't that so important, having a supportive partner?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm so lucky to have Carla, like, just
really.
jump in head first for my dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're super honest all the time.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's something I don't want to hear, he'll tell me straight off the bat, or straight up, like, he'll be like, okay, well, I know this isn't anything you want to hear, and this isn't me saying it to hurt your feelings. It's me saying it to better you and to help you out. And it's honestly been, like, such a blessing, because I've never really had a lot of people that were like, okay, well, this is what you. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like a little spoiled when I was growing up. Like, I would cry a little bit, like, if I don't get that, then what the heck, like.
Yeah.
But now, like, I grew up, I'm like, okay, like, that's not. I don't want to be like that. Like, I want to be able to like have this growth mindset and have like. I don't know, like, it's just crazy for me to think that he's been able to help me as much as he's done.
It's unfortunate that, like, I mean, I don't know, just people are so different, but like, if you don't have a partner that's not going to support you in what your dreams are, man, that's it. Your dream is squashed just like that.
Yeah.
Like, Carla could have easily said, like, RJ, getting in the restaurant business is very risky. Don't chase your passion. Let's just work for somebody else, you know? But she knew that, like, I would have been unhappy, and
that's exactly how
that
is too.
what was going to happen. I don't know. I just feel so lucky, and it's very important. And hopefully for you married people out there, like, you can convince your partner that your dream is going to be turned into something successful. But, you know, we don't have kids yet. That's another thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I feel like I already have like 3 kids, because my sister,
yeah,
like,
you do.
I swear to God, I only have weekend orders. Like, I make cakes and all that stuff only on the weekends. And she happens to drop all 3 of her kids off every weekend. And I'm like,
that's why I need a brick and mortar.
I'm like, girl. She's like, you think you can watch my kids? I'm like, they're so freaking cute. How do you expect me to say no?
Right? For real.
I was like, you do this on purpose, because you know they love me, and I love them.
And
even if I'm working, I will take care of them. And there have been times where I'll bake and like still have all 3 of them with me, and it's so hard, but at the same time, I was just like, give them my scraps and like go over there, like go eat this cake pop somewhere else.
See, that's good. At least that's more experience for you when you do have kids. You know how to bake and have kids at the same time.
And then they could eventually probably work for me if they want.
Yeah, exactly. You're training them right now.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
My little taste testers.
Nice. What I wanted to ask you, because we talked about it earlier, 2020 spawned an amazing amount of home-based businesses, and you've been home-based since what, 2018?
Yeah.
So
2018.
What would you okay, let me just say this first. Like, for example, I just booked a podcast yesterday with this home-based company called Isle of Cookies. Shout out to Isle of Cookies. They reached out to us through social media. They came into Cultura and they brought us some cookies.
Nice.
And they were hella good. And I could just see the passion in her eyes, like your passion right now. And when we talked a couple of years ago, she was ready to go. She's like, she had all her plans laid out, but right now she's just in her house. Like, what would you suggest to all those home-based businesses who want to grow into this amazing thing? What worked for you?
What works for me?
Or like just a piece of advice for them.
Honestly, like, not having like negative thoughts of like, okay, well, if my business is a small business, it's not ever gonna like grow, or like people won't recognize me, or like, because I feel like a lot of small businesses like get scared to like keep going, because they feel like not a lot of people are supporting them, or like they don't have the clientele or things like that, so then they stop. And like I feel like that's not what you should like. You should keep going and how do you say it? Like sorry,
No, it's okay. You're good. Don't worry.
But I don't know. Like I always felt like I really just can't think right now.
That's okay, but no worries. That's fine, and that's really good advice. Because I remember like back in the day, my mom. This is kind of like where the seeds were planted for my like entrepreneurial spirit, as they call it. She was baking out of our house.
Mm-hmm.
She was selling pandesal and just mainly bread and just like baked goods like yourself. And we were in the military. So, or my family, my parents were my dad was in the military, and she would sell to like all her friends and stuff. And that's where I saw it. And, I could just see the joy, like, and the extra money that she was making and all that stuff. So
I feel like too, like it's always, or it's not a bad thing too. Like you don't always have to feel the need to like go bigger, like to open a shop or anything like that. You can always remain small business and still build up your clientele. Because I know a lot of small businesses like tagged with Love Shop. She has like a good amount of followings, but she's at home base, and it's where I don't know. I feel like you don't have to have a shop or really go big to be able to like keep going and keep doing what you love. I feel like you can be home based, and then like eventually, like if you do want to grow into a business like out of the house, then you can. But like I don't know.
Yeah.
Home base is always still good. Like I feel like you don't have to feel the need to open up a shop, and like you can still build up. I don't know. I feel like some home based businesses can have more clientele sometimes than a shop that's open in like an area or something like that. I don't know.
No, that makes sense. And because you wanting to open up a brick and mortar is just a passion. It's like a dream for you. You don't. You're doing fine home based, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm doing fine home based. It's just like the only reason why that I want to open up a shop is because I don't know. Like I feel like this
feels right.
Yeah, this is the only job or it's the second job that I've ever had, and it's like the only one I ever really want to have anymore. Like, so I feel like if this is my only source of income, then I kind of want to open up my own shop. But I don't know, like if you're a stay-home parent, or if you do like just things from home, like you could still make more profit. Especially now that people are always willing to buy from home-based businesses now, and more willing to buy from home-based businesses rather than like the shops too.
And all the pop-up stuff and collabs, did that like help you grow in your brand and everything?
Mm-hmm. A lot of like the collaborations or like joining people in their giveaways and things like that helps a lot too. Oh
shit, dude, before I forget, before we end this thing, dude, you did a really cool thing. I'm sorry, I wanted to bring that up. You did this 2 times now. You did a donation for the homeless, right?
Oh yeah, I did.
I want to talk to you about that. So, yeah, what made you want to do that?
Well, my business, like I've always just wanted to like help people, but I felt like before I had my business, I didn't have the opportunity. Like if I was going to help someone, I would be able to only help like one person or like 2 person, which is still like enough. But like as soon as I started my business, I was like, okay, well, now that I have like this platform and have enough people to help me out, then I want to help as many people as I can. So I started doing like helping the homeless people, like donating to like causes and stuff that I can. Like I'll just have a sale from home, and then any profit that I make from that sale, I'll donate it to like when I think a couple months ago I did childhood cancer, and then I did the George Floyd, and then I don't know, I just want to help as much as I can. But I had this idea with the homeless people at first. It was like Christmas Eve when we had set up everything. It was right after my birthday. I had a bunch of the food. Actually, I had a bunch of like burritos still left over from POB because I had ordered like a bunch just in case, which most of it was eaten. But then the next day, me and my boyfriend were like, okay, well, this stuff is still good. Like all our food is still good. We don't want to like throw it away when we can just like drive around and find homeless people. So that's what we did. We just drove around Fairfield. We found someone, and we gave them some of the food, and they were just like, do you happen, like, usually sometimes people would think like they would ask for money, but that's not really what the homeless people really do anymore. They're more for like, oh, do you have shoes? Do you have clothes? Like that's really how they are. Like if you connect with them, if you speak to them like they're normal people, not just
I know what you mean.
Like try to like communicate with them. They want help, like they need the help, and honestly I'm always willing to help them. Like, especially if it's like little things that they're asking for, like, oh, just like, I think one guy had asked my boyfriend, he was like, oh, you look like you would be like a size 12 shoes. Do you happen to have any? And then my boyfriend was like, oh, I do. At the house, I have to go check and all that stuff. So, like, just seeing them, helping them as much as we can, especially during this time when it's so cold and it's like, I don't know, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
if I have the opportunity to help and have these people gather up and help me, it's.
Did that, like, just doing that, did that change your view on homeless people? Because, you know.
It has, because my really good friend Raven, she lives in LA. Yeah, she lives in LA, but she came out here. She was helping me out, and she has a lot of experience doing things like that. And when we were first going out, before we had our event on Christmas Eve, we had the event for the homeless people. We started going out a couple days before to like try to let them know that we're gonna have this event. And she was like kind of like teaching me how like to approach them, how to like speak to them. Like one thing she taught me too was to ask them like, oh, like ask them what their name is, because they like, you know, a lot of people don't ask them things like that. And you ask them that and they like really start to smile, or some people will cry because like, you know, it makes them feel like, well, we do care. Like, I want you to make, or I want to be known. I want it to be known that we care about you. Like, we want to help you. We're not just trying to like, oh, give you this money or food just for today. I'm willing to help all the homeless people in the community. Because, you know, there's so many of them. Yeah. There is. Like, everywhere you go, they're standing, or they're just over there, and it's like, I don't know. Like, in my car, I keep water, like snacks. Anytime I see them, I'll just hand it to them. Like, I don't know. I want to help them as much as I can.
I love that. And I'm going to be honest. Like, I struggle because, you know, for example, like today. Okay, I'm gonna share with you something with you today. I was working at Sassoon Seafood Center, and there is a big homeless population now in Sassoon, right? It's pretty bad. And there was a gentleman who walked into our store, and you could tell he was like super homeless. He had painted his face blue for some reason.
Oh God.
And you know, he's homeless. It looks like he hasn't showered for like a long time, and you know, he had a certain smell. And where I struggle is, okay, obviously a lot of the customers were bothered about him, and we were worried about him shoplifting because he has no money. That was my immediate thought, like just straight up, no cap. Like, I thought he was going to steal from me. You know what I mean? Because it happens almost every day. We get stolen from by homeless people, not homeless people. So we were watching him, and then I was just paying attention. That's all I was. And then about halfway through, you know, because he was getting some fish fried there, this lady, one of our regulars actually, she said, "Hey, I'm going to pay for your fish." And then I was like, okay, that's really nice of her. And he was shopping around. He was grabbing all these things, and I was making sure he wasn't going to put them in his pocket. And then the lady, she comes, and then she pays for her fish, and that was that. And then it kind of changed my mindset. Or like, oh wow, like he changed, like exactly what you said. The moment when she offered to pay for his fish, he smiled, and you could tell he had a little bit of a mental problem, but. And then he started shopping around, and he realized he was so happy because he realized he could get more essentials now that he didn't pay for his fish. So I made sure to ring him up. So when he came, I looked at him, and, you know, I thought, like, this lady was nice enough to pay for his fish. I can be nice enough to help him look in the eyes and pretend like he's not, or see, that's where I'm fucked up. He's a human being. Right. You know what I mean? And what was I going to say? I'm going to say, like, I'm going to pretend like he's a human being. Yeah. So I rang him up, and I was like, "Hey, man, what's up, dude? How you doing?" And he was like, "I'm good." And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to get one more thing." And then he grabbed it, and he barely had enough money to pay for some, like, food, you know? And then that was it. He took his money, he took his fish, he said, "Thank you." And then I couldn't help but thinking for, like, the past, like, 30 minutes after, I was like, dude, I had, like, all I was thinking, when he first walked in, all I was thinking about was, like, what I'm going to do when he steals. You know what I mean? That's just like how I was built to, because of all the things that have happened, and that's where I struggle.
And it's crazy because, like, when I started doing all of the things to help the homeless, I, like, every single person that I've talked to, I learned their names. I, like, wanted to communicate with them, and, like, they started, once they're comfortable with you, they start telling you their stories and why they are in the place that they are. And it's like, it's super sad because, like, sometimes it's like they can't control it or anything like that. I remember talking to this one guy. His name was Raymond, and he was right out in front of the 99-cent store. And this was with me, and my friend Raven, when we were going around letting the homeless people know about the event that we were having the next day. And he was just outside, and it was so cold outside in front of the 99-cent store. And I was just like, oh, we're going to have this event tomorrow. And at first he was kind of like, scared of us and shy. And then once he realized, like, oh, we were trying to help him out, he started to open up more, started to tell us his own story and all that stuff. And he told us, like, that same day he had money, like he had enough money to go get him some stuff to eat and drink and stuff. So he went into the 99-cent store, and as soon as he went to the register, everyone was like looking at him, and he had told me that, like, the cashier was like, do you have money to pay for this? And they ended up like kicking him out the store because he was homeless and he didn't even end up getting his items, but he had the money.
Yeah.
And so he got kicked out of the store for good. And I was just like, what? Like, that's so crazy. Like, just because you are, like, you look the way you are, like, they don't want to help you, even if you do have the money. And it's like super crazy, like, just to like think about it, because I know there are some homeless that are like unstable and they're like mentally not there anymore, but there's always ways to help all of them, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, of course, like, people are gonna have these views on them because like sometimes they can be a little outrageous, but if you think about it, it's like they're going through a lot. Like, the things they're going through is a lot different than us, and like the best thing that we can do is help them cope with what they're dealing with, help them, like, or let them know, like, they're not alone, like, but at the same time, like, you need to, like, do something, like, try to do something for yourself, like, try to find a job, or try to, like, keep yourself healthy, or don't do, like, these things, and, like, I'll keep helping you and things like that, because, like, I don't like just giving them money anymore. I tell them, like, I don't have money for you, but I have this, like, water bottle and, like, canned ravioli in my car for you, and they'll take it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, then that's how I know you, like, you really need something. Like, I don't want to just, I don't know, like, just give them the money and just have them spend it on unnecessary things. They need to learn, like,
it almost seems like an impossible situation.
It's just crazy.
It is like, but you know, I love that because you're doing what you can.
Right.
When there are people in charge of our city, well, I don't know, so I can't speak on this, but like, they better do something about it because we've lived in Sassoon our whole lives, and boy, has it changed.
It has. My boyfriend still lives in Sassoon, so whenever I go through Sassoon, I'm like, I'm like near the train tracks, or like downtown Sassoon, or just like in open areas now. Like, it was never like that. Yeah. And it kind of like, it's sad to see like the homeless population like building and building, and like no one really helping it stop, like, from it building and stuff. Just like, oh, they're homeless, they chose to live. I'm like, well, some of them, like, you know, can't control what happens in their life, and you know, like,
this is crazy. I have a friend. She's this person's a police officer, and you know, we were just talking one day, and she was just saying that like most of her time is spent dealing with the homeless people, and I get it why they have to, but you know, she was just kind of saying like this is not why I signed up to be a police officer. You know, like I'm gonna do what I have to do, but it's a small police force, and like, what if something legit like goes down, and here we are just, you know, trying to help this homeless person. Like, it's just so many things. So
there's a lot of things,
but we can go on and on about this, but like, shout out to you for doing like something positive, you know what I mean?
You.
Like, when it comes down to it, those are human beings, and like, I am very flawed. I'm a flawed individual. When I looked at that person today, I did not see a human being. So, you know, that's why I'm glad I get to like see like young people doing like positive things. I love that. You know what I mean? Shout out to you for doing that.
I want to keep doing things like that, like having sales to raise money for organizations that I can help out and things like that.
Yeah. I'm almost ashamed. Just, I need to be better as a person. I always want to continue to do that.
There's always room for improvement too. Like, I've always like sat down and thought about things that I've done, and I'm like, okay, well, see, if I would have seen that like from someone else doing it, or like in a different perspective, I would have been like, ew, like, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't want to be like that. So I don't know. There's been times too where I just sit there. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I shouldn't be thinking like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's things I need to improve on, and like, I wouldn't want people to like think about me in certain ways without even like knowing me. Things like that. Just, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Okay, Caitlin, before we end this podcast, I feel like I want to end it on a good note to like strengthen our relationship, because I consider you a really good friend, and you come from the tree of PLB. So, and I'm just going to do this is like a new thing for me, because like I always feel like when it comes to like people, like relationships that people have, like we'll run into these issues because people clash, you know, and then you and I, you know what I mean? You and I, we came to a moment where we clashed, to say the least. And I feel like we should talk about it, because we're already, it happened. It's over, you know, there was tears, but I feel like we should bring it up because we never talked about it.
No,
why not talk about it on a podcast? We kind of just we did the most Filipino thing, and we brushed it under the rug.
We did. We literally did, because that's what I do in my household. We just like pretend like nothing happened and just start talking to each other like it was all good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just give a little bit of a background. So Caitlin, you used to work for me, and if you've been listening up to this point, you've heard that you know, Caitlin was at a weird point in her life, but anyways, it was a bad day for Caitlin.
It was.
And she had her hat down and she was pissed. And I remember, like, we have one rule at Peace, Love, and Boba, and that's why I want to ask you. I want to ask your perspective about it, because I just remember like, oh man, I think the customers can tell she's pretty like pissed off.
Right.
So I was like, go to the back. And then I went to the back to make sure you're okay in that infamous back hallway where we always do our talk.
Yeah, it was.
So I just wanted to say, you know, like I actually want to like apologize to you, because I feel like as an owner, I could have handled that better. You know what I mean?
No, I should have. No, honestly, like at that point in my life too, like I apologize as well, because like I was like, that mindset that I had was really like, I literally let anything get to me, like the littlest things, and like I would just pop off on anyone and then like regret it right after, and like realize all the things that I said wasn't really how I really felt. It was just trying to hurt someone, because that's how I was with my sisters growing up. I would just say things to like hurt them and not really mean it, but that's how I was like for a while. Just like I always wanted to attack people if I felt like they were coming at me or like disrespecting me, or if I felt a certain way. And then as I came to grow older, I was like, okay, I need to take control of my actions and like how I can control my emotions and how I can come across. And if I feel a certain way, there's a way I can come across someone without being bitchy or like, you know, like coming across rude or trying to disrespect them in their own place too, in their own small business and all that stuff. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I totally understood where you came from, and I just wanted to say, like, I wish it wouldn't have, even though it turned out to be like perfect. Like, dude, you like letting me know that was going to probably be your last day at work. It actually improved our relationship so much, because you know, like the relationship we had from like boss to worker, like there was a barrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I honestly think I needed like that time to myself to figure out, like, I didn't know who I truly was, honestly. Like, I didn't know how to control myself. I didn't know like how I felt about things or how to go about things. And so when I decided that, I was like, you know what, let me just be on my own right now and like figure out myself. That way I can grow, build up myself, and make sure I'm not like this angry ass person that I used to be, and like pop off on everyone. And like I want to be able to like control my emotions, be able to like speak to people normally, all that stuff. Like, so I needed that time to like build up myself and learn about myself. Honestly, I didn't even know myself back then. I was just like going off like crazy and getting mad at people for doing things the way they did, when it was obviously they have every right to do the things they did. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just, I don't know.
Don't feel bad though, because you know, like that was probably just meant to happen. Also, like I said, you know, you haven't had it easy growing up, so that's why, like, I don't know, things happen for a reason. And look at that, here we are now. And I just wanted to let you know,
it's
like,
so crazy.
I'm happy that happened, Caitlin, because our relationship is so good.
I know.
You know
I
what I
was
mean?
like, after it had happened, like, I would always talk to like Carla and J-Bo and all that. I'm like, I feel so bad. Like, I just don't know. Like, ever since I was growing up, like, I would like attack people and like, not like physically attack them, but like emotionally and like physically, like verbally. And then like later on, I would think about it. I'm like, okay, well, like, I feel like super like shitty about myself. Like, I don't want to be that person that like hurts someone else's feelings just because they feel I feel some type of way.
Yeah.
When they don't deserve any of that stuff. So I started to like get a grip on myself and making sure I think before I speak and all that stuff.
You are not the person you were like a couple years ago. You have changed. You have grown so much. I probably said that like 10 times already, but I don't give a fuck, Caitlin, because man, you are on this path to greatness. Yeah. It's undeniable.
Thank you.
You're going to do so many great things. And most importantly, Carla and I are here for you every step of the way.
I appreciate it.
And I love you.
I love you guys too. You guys are amazing. Like, I swear to God, you and Carla always like hit me up about my business. Like, she was just talking to me about like she went to an auctioning the other day and she got me a couple things. Yeah,
she
and
did.
I was like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Like, just the fact that you guys think about me still and are still willing to like always help me, and like even in the future you're willing to help me with my own shop and stuff. It's crazy. Like,
yeah, we're gonna be business partners one day.
Yeah. Collab. And I was just talking to Carla too about like my 3-year anniversary is coming up in April, so I was talking to her about doing like maybe a pop-up either at Katora or like DLB or anywhere. Like, it's a little pop-up Caakelin.
Hell yeah. Let's plug you up right now. Where can people find you?
On Instagram at Caakelin Bakery with 2 A's, CAAKELIN BAKERY.
And they can just like hit you up in the DM for like pricing and all that shit.
So this year I started to book month to month, because like, ever since the pandemic, everything has been so like, I don't know, it's been crazy. Like, I don't know like how my schedule is anymore. Like, it's crazy. But I book month to month, and I usually release my availability on the first before like the month. And I started doing like this order request form. A lot of people started doing it. It's like a Google form that I put in my bio, and then people fill it out in order to place an order. Because I don't know, I felt like when people started like blowing up my DMs, it would start getting like chaotic for me, and like I couldn't organize it as well as I could.
Yeah.
So having this order form has been like a blessing, because I can see everyone's information in one spot and like what they want, and it's all like on record there. It's on record there too, because like I feel like Instagram, it's hard sometimes to like keep up with everyone's messages. But I have a highlights page on my Instagram where all my information is, like how to book and my pricing and all that. But I'm always my messages are always open for questions and things like that.
Okay, so follow at Caakelin Bakery. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This podcast is gonna blow up. Give me a year. Ooh, all right, it's that time. Guess that boba. Caitlin used to work for Peace on Boba, so we made this one super hard. But the rules are, if you guess all the flavors in this boba, I'll give you $20. You get 3 guesses, and you can have 5 yes or no questions. Cheers, Caitlin.
5 yes or no questions? Yeah. Okay, I got this.
Yeah.
You $20. Made this one, right? Okay.
Ooh, that's good. I said no sugar though. Erico knows that I don't, so it's you're talking to Erico.
There's like peppermint in there.
Erico, you know it. I don't. So what was that? Okay, yes on the peppermint.
It's like a mocha peppermint. No.
So that's one. Ooh, mine is an iced tea.
I'm like visioning myself in the back of PLB trying to look at the flavors that you guys have, like the syrups and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you haven't been there in a while though. I know, I haven't been there in so long. You probably got new flavors and shit. Yeah. I could definitely taste the peppermint. Is there like, do you guys have white chocolate?
We do. That's your second.
It's not in here.
Oh.
I have yes or no questions.
Yeah, you got 3 more left.
This is stress. This give me anxiety. This boy really messing me up.
Dude, you used to work there. We had to make it hard.
I just tasted peppermint.
Maybe that's the con right there. What if it's just peppermint?
I know. What if it's just peppermint? Like, I don't taste anything else. I'm like, is there hazelnut in there?
That'd be some like next level shit. Just one flavor.
I knew it. See, peppermint.
Clock's ticking.
It's definitely like a black tea though too.
Black tea. There you go. Black tea peppermint. All right, you got to guess. What is it?
Honestly, I don't even know. Like a caramel.
You lost.
I don't know.
What is it, Erico? Okinawa peppermint with black tea.
What's Okinawa?
That's a brown sugar? Brown sugar. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
I like it. That's unique. I might have to make that into a cupcake flavor.